Cardano news updates, a huge and incredible amount of information here. I've got about 49 tabs open, all with different news stories. So be prepared. This is going to be a long update. Let's get into it.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no...
Thank you for coming by, and if this is your first time here, please consider giving me that thumbs up, click subscribe, click the notification bell. I do a lot of Cardano content, and this is a really big news update, so let's get right into it. And this is the first news story I have for you guys. This is from SundaeSwap. So we don't often get to a lot of updates. They've been working quite hard on their improvements and everything else around the platform. And this is the brand new user interface that they've got prepared and is now up and running on the preview network. So this is it here. I did have a play around with it, but they've made a couple of interesting changes. The first off is that you get to see your portfolio first. So anytime you go to exchange and connect your wallet, you see your general balance and your position within the ecosystem in what assets you have on the platform. So here I had 10,000 test ADA. I've been playing around with the liquidity pools, doing some swaps, etc. on the platform. So they have made some little changes. You can see one of the changes here, the buy and sell, and these are off limit orders within the ecosystem. So not only will you be able to do a direct swap within the platform, you'll be able to do the limit orders and buy and sell at certain prices within the platform. So that's a unique change for them, as well as the other aspects that they've put into place here. And of course, you got the light and the dark theme as well. So I'm pretty excited about all the nice little tweaks and changes that the guys have done. So check that one out. Again, links and everything in the show notes for you all. Now, another DEX in the Cardano ecosystem, Minswap, probably the most popular one in the ecosystem at the moment in terms of TVL and the amount of users on there. They've been having record month-on-month gains here. So the month of March here, again, has increased in terms of its amount of trading that has gone through the platform. I'll just pull it up here as well. So you can see here back in February, it was 164 million ADA. And then this month was, well, last month, I should say, 177 million ADA. And who knows what we'll get in April, but it's already starting off quite strongly. So I absolutely love the team, what they're doing there at Minswap. They're always innovating, always changing, and always improving on the platform too. So big shout outs for the Minswap team. Now, this is a project that I haven't really touched much on any of my other podcast updates, but this is Paribus, and Paribus are very similar to what Lending Pond or what Fluid Token do, and they allow for liquidity from NFTs. So you can do DeFi with using NFTs as collateral. That's one of the things that they do. But they've launched on Mainnet, and it's interesting. I thought this was on Ethereum, but it's more so on Arbitrum. So I'll just switch over the networks here, and you'll be able to see and play around with the platform and see exactly what they have to offer. In terms of the Cardano ecosystem side of things, I haven't really worked through this and see how it is directly connected to the Cardano ecosystem, but I'll be interested to learn more. And if you guys know a little bit more about the platform, please leave a comment down below, and we'll dig into it a little bit more for everyone. Now, one of the three founding entities of the Cardano blockchain is Emurgo, and we always wonder what they're doing. We don't often hear big announcements from them on a regular basis, but this one here is a big announcement within Southeast Asia, and they're teamed up with Bitkub Official. So Bitkub is an exchange in Thailand, and they're working through a couple of really cool things. So they're looking at fostering broader adoption of Cardano within their Web3 space there, co-hosting various Web3 businesses competitions for talented Thai youth, and also exploring potential use cases for the Cardano ecosystem, including the stablecoin. So Emurgo is launching their USDA stablecoin. It's a fully backed reserved USD stablecoin, and they'll be going through that process. It should be launching very soon, but we'll find out more information from the team. But that is one really cool announcement from Emurgo and their push and adoption of Cardano through Southeast Asia at the moment. You can read up more about this announcement. Again, I'll put links to the press release and everything within the show notes for you guys. Now, on the Cardano Foundation side of things, they have launched their education alpha program. So this is an online course that you can go through so you can upskill yourself and get a really good sound foundation within blockchain technology. I have had a little play and look at the platform as well. It is quite extensive. It's got a lot to it, and there's a little quiz at the end that you can do as well. Now, at the time of collecting all these news items, they were still going through an alpha testing stage, but they've actually released the platform now as well. So you can actually go through, links for you guys in the show notes, and you can check out the entire course that they have on there, all about blockchain and Cardano too. So please check that one out. Now, in terms of other things that the Cardano Foundation are putting out, they're hiring at the moment. So if you have the skills and technical expertise to become a part of the Cardano Foundation, you can be one of those really high-level contributors that do a lot of really cool and amazing work. So they're looking for a PR and comms manager, content marketing creator, and all these other technical skills as well. So senior engineer architect, software engineer, senior IT ops specialist, and senior web developer, legal, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So quite a few roles there. Please check them out. Again, if you want to be working in the Web3 space and contributing to a top tier blockchain, this could be an opportunity for you. So please check out those particular links there. Now, to give you an idea of what people are contributing from the Cardano Foundation, Kotors, I think that's how you say it, but Kotors is actually hired by the Cardano Foundation. He's the technical director, and he works on all the SIP improvement proposals. So he goes through and I think the word is auditing them, or helping them go through the process. But he also does a lot of work for Aiken. So Aiken is a brand new smart contract language for Cardano, which makes developing on Cardano so much easier. They've gone through a different approach to make the smart contract development easy, so you don't need to learn Plutus and Haskell. It's more familiar to regular programming languages that you might be more familiar with. I did do an interview with Lucas about Aiken as well. You can check it out in the top right hand corner there, where you can find out more information about Aiken. But Kotors here, this was a tweet in response to the community in general harping on about the Cardano Foundation doesn't do anything, but really the foundation contributes a huge amount of time and effort to building some of the infrastructure and some of the really base level things that are needed within the Cardano ecosystem. So at the moment, a lot of the tooling, a lot of the Plutus application backend, one was released by Genius Yield recently, and all of this other stuff is needed to make it easier for developers to build on the Cardano blockchain, and this is one of those projects that is needed. So the foundation is concentrating on a lot of that, and you can see a lot of comments here from various community members in the ecosystem telling us and reminding us that a lot of this tooling in the ecosystem is needed, and the Cardano Foundation is contributing back to a lot of that stuff. So this one here is called BloxBean. I don't know where some of these names come from, but here's the abbreviations. It's yet another Cardano indexer, yet another Cardano indexer dev kit. So this allows you to spin up a Cardano node on Docker, tune the block times to make it as fast as possible, and it comes with a compact block explorer and simple interface that allows for posting transactions. So this is some of the things that if you're building a project on Cardano and you need a node that you can interact with, this is like a very quick way of getting one set up and done instantly, as opposed to going through the whole process of setting up a node step by step yourself. So me as a staple operator, I know this, like setting up a node from scratch does take some time and a little bit of effort, and once you've done it once, it's quicker and easier. But having a tool like this for someone that is developing on Cardano for the first time makes it so much easier. You have something like a TX pipe and Dmeter to build up the base infrastructure of a DApp. Then you have this to build up your node. You can get up and running with the development environment within minutes as opposed to days, which literally it would take you days right now if you didn't have these tools and you're doing everything from scratch. I know when I was doing the Plutus Pioneer program and setting up my MacBook to actually go through and be able to compile Haskell. Setting up the Nix environment, one, destroyed my partition on my Mac and I had to restore from a backup. Luckily, I did a backup and then go through and try and set up that environment again. And it took literally days to do, and that's a terrible developer experience. But this stuff here speed things up, makes it so much easier, and that coupled with stuff like Aiken, Plutus or Helios or any of these other, or Option, or any of these other smart contract development languages and dev tools is going to really buzz Cardano and make it take it to the next level. So I'm really excited about where things are at, and thank you for the Cardano Foundation for supporting a lot of these tools to make this all happen. Now, this is a really interesting one here. So I remembered Wanchain being announced at, I think it was the Cardano Summit last year or the year before. And you always wondered, why is this partnership happening? Why is Wanchain being highlighted? It's one of those chains that you don't know much about, but the development that they've done is incredibly useful, incredibly interesting, incredibly useful. You can see from this announcement here how much impact this will have. So now with their Wanchain's cross-chain bridge, we can move ADA to any EVM chain. We can move Cardano tokens to any EVM chain, and we can move coins or ERC20 tokens from any EVM chain to Cardano. So there's a lot of projects that actually launched on the EVM side of things in some of these Kickstarter launch pads, and they need to move their tokens over to the Cardano blockchain. And one such as Charlie 3, Jero, they started off on the EVM side on Ethereum to raise funds and gain traction there, and then they've had to build and move their assets over to the Cardano blockchain. Tools like this makes that really easy, and interoperability and being able to move assets back and forth, I think, and I believe, is the key and future for crypto. One day we'll be able to interact with blockchain in general, not know what chain we're on, but be able to have these assets and just work with a project that we're really interested in. Maybe it's a fitness app, maybe it's a food reward system, or whatever it is. We'll be able to interact with that, have it powered by blockchain, but might be powered by Cardano and also Ethereum at the same time. So this level of interoperability is key and really important. And Wanchain are absolutely kicking goals. I'll be checking that out on the pre-production testnet to see how it all works. Now, this is a really interesting bit of content. This comes from the European Cardano community. So I visited their community once to do a bit of an interview. But this interview here is with Iagon, Meld, AADA Films, and also AADA Quest Games. And I've got an interview with AADA Quest coming out very soon, so check out the channel for that. But they've gone through and did this really cool interview and chat about all these various projects that are building on Cardano. And if you want to get some really useful and interesting insights from all these founders, I'd recommend checking that out. Again, links for you guys in the show notes. Now, while we're on the topic of Iagon are doing some really cool things with the decentralized storage, but they've put together this one-click multi-transaction sending made easy on their platform. So in one click, you can set up all your transactions and send out all of these assets in one go. So this is really cool. So if you're distributing funds or something to a lot of users in one transaction, you can do it from their platform. That's a really, really useful tool to be able to do so. So I absolutely love that kind of thing. You can check out this thread here to see how it all works. We've got the links there as well, but you can connect your wallet on pre-prod and have a go at that multi-send transaction. So it's a really interesting thing that they've developed. I love the UI here. It makes it a little bit easier to go through and actually make that happen as well. I know when you send to multiple different addresses or different wallets, it can get very confusing. So the UI here does look quite nice. I love what the guys are doing. So check that one out if you're interested in that type of utility. Now, Smart Places, I did an interview with the team here. They're building a social media network that's interactive and integrated with real life positions, places in the world. So check out their monthly progress update here. And one of the highlights I'd just like to bring to your attention is the addition of the communities. So on their map, you can now put in these community places and put in information about various projects or whatever you're building. So you can, if you have one of these plots, you can put on the map the project. So maybe it's a business, for example, and you put up the information about that business, about that project. So they've gone through and improved on some of this interactivity on their platform as well. So really cool to see the development and that keep going. Now, the team from Fluid Token are still going through their ISPO at the moment. So if you're looking for new opportunities for various tokens in the ecosystem, check out the Fluid Token ISPO. But they announced that they have this really interesting NFT that is coming out on their platform. So this NFT adds in a whole bunch of new utility for it as well. So let me just pull up this blog post here. So that's 50 tabs now that are open. But this particular NFT does some really cool, interesting things. So it will boost your LBE, have a 0 fee option for a single loan payback. So that's an interesting option there too. The NFT is burnt. So if you have a loan that has a really high fee, that's probably where you could use this NFT. So that's an interesting aspect. We also have a boost in the Discord airdrop and also early access to the peer to treasury functionality. So that's a couple of really interesting aspects. Oh, and the last thing I didn't mention, it is also a SIP68 standard. So SIP68 is the dynamic NFTs within the Cardano ecosystem. So I'm assuming each time you interact with the NFT or do something with it, you will actually change how the NFT is actually appearing or its status within the ecosystem. So that's a really cool added functionality too. Now, to get this NFT, you do need to delegate at least 500 ADA for 10 epochs. So it's for those diamond hand holders that will stay with the pool and delegate for a certain amount of time. That really helps the team to raise the funds because their Fluid Token pool is a 100% fee pool. So they take all your ADA rewards. So it's really dedicating that 500 ADA for that period of time so that you can get this particular NFT. So check that one out, see if it actually suits your delegation strategy, and it's a pretty cool extra reward for anyone that is participating in the Fluid Token ecosystem. Now, there's been a lot of chatter about governance and SIP 1694, and Rick here was a part of the workshop that was held, and he said more than 100 people showed up for this particular conversation. Now, the whole governance era is moving forward with really good pace in the Cardano ecosystem. I believe there's a lot of regulation that's coming from the crypto space in general, a lot from the US, I should say, and having governance built into the blockchain now would really help with some of these decisions that need to be made for the entire blockchain in general. So it's really good to see that the community at large is moving towards this and making things happen. So absolutely amazing. And there's a lot of comments down here about it as well. Unfortunately, these type of events, this would have been held in the US time zones, US friendly time zones, so 2-3 a.m. for us here in Australia. So I don't think I'll ever be able to interact with this type of event. But there are plans to create an Australasian one and actually contribute something to this conversation. So you can see all the comments down here, and I just have to highlight this one here. This must be boring as AF. I have to agree, some of the conversations here would be extremely boring, especially when you're talking about how voting works, how voting power works. I know a lot of people in the US are very opinionated in regards to how votes should work. Here in Australia, we just have a very a mandatory voting system. I don't know, it just works. I love it myself. But yeah, I totally relate to this. It's all good. Now, one of the things that was brought up around voting was the idea of quadratic voting. And this is how voting power might be adjusted based on how much ADA you have in your wallet. So if you have a huge amount of ADA in your wallet, like millions and millions of ADA, technically that will give you a lot of voting power. And this quadratic voting kind of tapers off that large amount of voting power, so you don't have as much influence in the community. Should that be adopted? I don't know. But anyway, there is a link here. So I just open up that tab. That's 51 tabs. But we have a link here that talks all about quadratic voting and how voting may work within the ecosystem. So you can go through that. You can learn a little bit more about what quadratic voting is, how it all works, how it might impact governance in the future too. Only if you're interested, but check that one out. Now, this is another hot topic that's been happening in the Cardano ecosystem at the moment. This is all around, the non-existent work of the Cardano Foundation and Emurgo. I do have to add, they do a lot of work. It's a lot of stuff that we just don't see because it's a really high level, country level or state level work that needs to be done. And a lot of that doesn't filter down to project level stuff. But this is a really interesting conversation between Alex and Patrick, where they're looking at introducing a fourth entity. So at the moment, we have 3 entities. We have the Cardano Foundation, we have IOG, and we have Emurgo. But a fourth one that concentrates specifically on business development, that's an interesting play, and it might be a really cool thing to look into. So if it's about outreach to various other businesses, other enterprises, and maybe this fourth one can do a lot of that work, so it can connect projects that are building in Cardano with some of these high-level enterprises and actually get some really cool things working. This Twitter thread that Andrew here put together was talking about the gaming side of things, where 18 months ago to be exact, he was talking to the people at Unity and exploring native blockchain integrations. And he was told by the Cardano Foundation that he was already talking to Unity. Now, I don't know what the background story is with this. Is it how accurate it is? But, fast forward today, he says that Unity is now close to rolling out native blockchain integration and Cardano isn't on the list. That's a little bit disappointing to hear, especially when there's a lot of projects that are working on Unity, building games and doing integrations too. So there is a lot of code out there. There is a lot of development that has been done, and a lot of that code could have been given to the Unity team or presented to them at least, so that it could be integrated and adopted into their blockchain initiatives in general. And that would have been absolutely amazing to see. So anyone that is thinking about building a blockchain game on Unity could pull down their software development kits, and Cardano would have been included in there. So that would have been really good to see. I don't know what the story is with this, but I would love to follow up and find out a little bit more about that and see if it actually is happening, can it still happen, etc. So we'll see. Now, this was an interesting story that was put out by Smogpool, and this is a brand new white paper that has been launched for Lava. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's got a number 4 in it. Lava cycle, but it's an automated cycle designed to ensure that there's ample liquidity for sacrificing of NFTs to Lava while supporting the value of Lava over time. So this is a really interesting mechanism where NFT projects can always get liquidity for their NFTs. So I think you sacrifice, you receive ADA, something happens, you auction it off, they receive the proceeds from that auction, and then you get the Lava liquidity. So it's an interesting one there. I'll be digging into this one a little bit more. If you know anything about it, please leave a comment down below. Now, this here is an interesting observation in the NFT space, and this person here was monitoring a particular NFT holder's wallet and the amount of listings that were coming out of the particular wallet. And it looks like they're liquidating a lot of their collection. 140 Ore Times, over 140 Her Monsters, Ape Society, Mallard Order, and the Block Group. So a lot of NFTs being sold at the moment. Is it capulation or de-risking? I don't know. It's interesting to see where wallets are moving and what people are doing with their collections at the moment. Maybe they're just bored of NFTs and they're just selling. That might be the simple answer. But some good news in the NFT space. Plutus Art have reached the 6,000 listing of 6,000 listing on their smart contract. So they're a brand new NFT marketplace that's built on Cardano, Plutus Art, and they're kicking goals as well. They're growing, they're building it up, getting more adoption, and having that hitting that 6,000 NFT goal is absolutely amazing. So sooner or later they'll hit the 10,000 mark and start gaining traction with the ecosystem. So it's really good to see. It's really good that there's competition, better competition in the ecosystem now. So JPEG Store had been dominating for a very long time, but there's all these other ones, Flipper, Plutus Art, Dropspot, they're all growing and they're all maturing at the moment too. So it's really good to see competition and the NFT marketplaces maturing altogether in general. Now, not to leave JPEG Store out, they're doing some cool things too. They really are. They do a lot of development work. They've got a brand new NFT builder I've talked about in previous episodes, but they're looking at launching their own JPEG token now. So there'll be a lot of utility around this. There's a whole thread around here, but it's about rewards between buying and selling volume and everything else around it. So there's a lot of projects in NFT marketplaces that are doing this kind of reward system within their platforms to reward users that are using it. And they're doing something very similar with their token as well. So check it out. It is a very big announcement. How many likes did they get on this? 134,000 views, almost 2,000 likes. There you go, a little bit more there. But it's a really interesting play on the JPEG token and how their ecosystem is going to work. Now, because they're the most dominant at the moment, so something like this may help keep their dominance within the ecosystem. And the whole NFT and token utility around it, it's going to be really interesting to see how this space grows. Now, continuing on the NFT theme, this is quite an interesting story, and this is the wormhole that has been launched by the Spacebudz team from Ailes. He's been working on this one to upgrade the NFTs the Spacebudz NFTs. So there was a whole drama around the Spacebudz artwork being copied from a different illustrator, not just inspired, but literally traced. Character trait by character trait. So there was a big uproar about that. So all the artwork was redone, all the traits, all the shading, everything was redone. And now there is this wormhole to upgrade the smart contract and the NFTs from what it was, a SIP28 standard, to a SIP68 standard. I might have those numbers wrong. Correct me down below if I'm wrong. But having these NFTs upgraded now make them dynamic NFTs, and the whole wormhole here, sending the NFTs to there, burning the old ones, creating the brand new ones, and now having the dynamicness within the NFTs creates a whole brand new ecosystem around this. So I'm pretty excited to have that kind of tech out there. It's all open source, and the team from Saturn NFT have taken advantage of that and built in their wormhole into their platform as well. So Saturn NFT, if you don't know, they're a SIP68 specific minting platform where you can go through and create these dynamic NFTs for your collection. And they've created this wormhole here so that you can then go ahead and migrate your old existing NFT project to the brand new SIP68 standard, the dynamic NFT standard, and then create a whole brand new ecosystem around it. So now users can dynamically upgrade their NFTs over time based on certain events that you might be doing. Maybe you're battling your Daiketsus, that's AADA Ninjas for those that don't know, and then have them go to a graveyard or something, and then you need to resurrect them by interacting with the smart contracts in SIP68. So it's a really cool mechanism of how you can use all those dynamicness within the SIP68 protocol. Oh, yeah, old one was SIP25. But yeah, it's a really cool mechanism to take advantage of, and the wormhole has been made possible on Saturn NFT as well. So check that one out if you are a NFT project owner and you want to upgrade. This is an opportunity of how you can actually upgrade those NFTs. Very cool. Now, this is a really cool event. It's a NFT/metaverse one. So I absolutely love the Disco Solaris ecosystem and Amber's music, actually. Amber's music, I think, is what pulled me into Disco Solaris in general, but they did this really cool event with FutureFest, who do interactive live events. And this here is the FutureFest, the FemFest one. This is for women in Cardano as well. And they did a live set with Amber and a couple of other DJs. And this is the metaverse here with FutureFest. I first discovered it when they did an event with Cascade, but this is really, really cool. You can play as one of these little avatars and be actually in the event itself. If you were around for the Cardano Summit in 2021, I think last year as well, 2022, they did an interactive space where you can join in and move around the world and play around with things and watch presentations. This is a very similar kind of experience, but with live music events. So this is really cool. Absolutely love what FutureFest have done. And if you love Amber's music, that dystopian retro vibe, check it out. Now, this one I did not expect. This is from Exodus. So Exodus is a wallet, a multi-chain wallet that you can use for Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Cardano. But they've gone and built a DApp connector for their wallet. So now you can use Exodus to connect to any Cardano DApp within the ecosystem. So this is really, really cool. And I first saw this when I think it was Patrick. He pointed it out. Let me just scroll down here. I'm pretty sure. There it is. So NMaker pointed it out that they've integrated in Exodus into their ecosystem here. So now anyone that has an Exodus wallet can use it to connect to NMaker and start minting NFTs. I believe you may be able to use different assets. At the moment, this demo only shows ADA, but maybe one day we'll be able to pay using Exodus and any crypto asset in there as well. So that's really cool, really exciting. Interoperability, and congratulations on to Exodus for integrating that in. It really adds in that extra layer of adoption for the Cardano blockchain too. Oh, and of course you can see your NFTs in there. That's really, really cool. Thanks, guys. Now, this is another project that is launching their testnet. This is Adosia Market. Now, I had absolutely no idea what it was. I know Kyle and all that are behind Adosia, and I thought it was quite interesting just to check it out because I know the people behind it. So here they mentioned it's a decentralized manufacturing marketplace. Now, what is that? That really doesn't say anything to me. But having a look at their website, says it all. These are 3D printed models. So if you've got a 3D printer, you can get these models, you can buy them as NFTs and then use them to print out in your 3D printer, whatever you've got. So it's a particular 3D printer file model, file formats. You can connect to your wallet, you can buy these ones here and then have them printed. So this gives utility and a marketplace for all these creators that are creating these 3D models and creating something really cool. Maybe it's even an NFT project that then created a 3D rendering of their NFTs, and then now you can print them off as a 3D model. So that's really cool and interesting play in how to use that NFTs and how to create a marketplace around an ecosystem there. So I like what they're doing there. I will check that one out, discover more. I will check this out to see what else they're building and how this one can actually grow. So it's an interesting play on that particular marketplace. It really gives these creators more options on how they can make revenue off their creation. So I really like that. Now, from time to time, I do talk about the Ergo ecosystem, and here is an update of the Ergo ecosystem map. I'm pretty sure there's more than this that's not shown, but there's a lot here building on the Ergo ecosystem. And I just wanted to bring this up because Spectrum Finance are getting closer and closer to launching on Cardano in general. So they've built their DEX and their DeFi ecosystem on Ergo, and they're slowly rolling this out to the Cardano ecosystem. So they've got their smart contracts and everything around it. But this is an interesting operation, this interaction, and it's a refund operation on Cardano. So I don't know exactly what they mean by refund. Maybe you go through and you've done a transaction, but you want that refunded. Like, is that even possible? I don't really know. But it's interesting that they've actually got this functionality working. They're working through and doing some really cool things within their DEX on Cardano as well. And soon we'll see that interoperability and be able to switch between the chains and swap assets between the chains as well. So I'm really hoping we'll see that soon. They've been working very hard on this, so keep your eyes peeled on Spectrum Finance. Now, I did a recent interview with the team from TeddySwap and what they're trying to build out in the ecosystem. You can check that out. Top right hand corner there, links for you guys. But they're using some of their code from Spectrum Finance to actually build their DEX. So they're using some of their the base code there that they have for their smart contracts, but then upgrading them into Plutus, a smart contract language for Cardano, upgrading that and building their yield farms and everything else around in Plutus. So they're using some of the base of Spectrum Finance and then building on top of that. So really cool what they're doing there. I love seeing projects use some other project's code. It means that the ecosystem is maturing. I know in the Ethereum space, you can just fork Uniswap and then have a brand new DEX up and running. Remember to change the variables. There's a lot of projects that forget to do that. But you can fork the project and get a DEX up and running really quickly. And we're slowly getting to that point when you see other projects forking someone else's code to build their own project. We're getting to that ease of development space. So we're getting there very soon. It's really cool to see. And TeddySwap are building a stablecoin focused DEX. You can see all these various trading pairs here. They're all aligned with various really big assets and stablecoins as well. So check that one out. Check out the interview if you don't know much about TeddySwap. Now, another DEX that is launching very soon is Vi Finance. And this is a really, really cool feature that was announced. And this is the non-custodial LP farming. What does that mean? So when you're providing liquidity to a DEX on any ecosystem, you get these LP tokens. And then usually what they do is they try and entice you to lock those LP tokens into a smart contract. And that's the yield farming side of things. So once those LP tokens are locked into the smart contract, you usually can't pull them out. And that kind of guarantees the DEX that liquidity. It will stay there. It allows other people to actually swap against the DEX. Having that liquidity locked there means there is less slippage and everything else around it. So it's really important to have that liquidity there. But Vi Finance have gone for a non-custodial version of this so that you'll be able to move your LP tokens in and out whenever you want. You can move it to another wallet. You can do all sorts of crazy things. So this is a really interesting thing. So you could trade your LP tokens as well. So not just have them locked up. So it gives you that fluidity of that LP token. So there's a little bit of a user flow diagram here that you can check out. And there is also a Twitter Spaces AMA where Stephen talks all about this too. So I'll put a link to all of that so you can learn a little bit more about this non-custodial LP token farming. It's brand new to crypto. It's not done anywhere else on any other crypto ecosystem. This is possible because it's on Cardano. It's done very differently. Thank you to the EUTXO model that Cardano has. We can do things like this. So I did an interview with Genius Yield about their Atlas PAB, the Plutus Application Backend, and Marvin was talking about this. And it's really important to be reminded sometimes that Cardano is bringing brand new tech to the DeFi ecosystem. That's why it's taking so long to build all these things. It's not just the same thing, another EVM chain, another Ethereum, another Binance Smart Chain. This is all brand new technology. And with brand new technology comes brand new ideas, brand new concepts, brand new ways to do things. And seeing projects like Vi Finance take advantage of that and bring a brand new concept to DeFi is really, really exciting. It really shows the power of Cardano and the future of Cardano of where it can go. So absolutely amazing. Check that one out. Book.io, I've always been doing some amazing things, and you can check, I've got my hat back there, really, really proud owner of all these book NFTs, but they're doing some really cool things in regards to their ecosystem, and they've launched their app now, their Reader app on the iTunes Store. It's called iTunes Store or Apple Store now. the App Store on Apple, whatever it's called, whatever it is. But they've got that listed there now, and you can check out their reader. If you have any of your NFT books, you can connect them up to the app and start reading them through the book too as well. So I'm waiting for it to be able to read the stories to me, have their text-to-speech capabilities in there, or audiobook capabilities. I know it's on their roadmap. I did check it out, but I'm waiting for that to happen, so I don't need to read things. I can just sit back and listen. I'm a very auditory learner, so when they have that narration and the text to speech added in, I'm all down for it. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the future. This is all cross-chain now as well, so they're minting on Polygon as well as Cardano. I think one more chain as well. I can't remember what it was. Ethereum, of course. So you can check that one out. They're doing some amazing things. Go book.io. Now, my last news update, I did talk about Hydra. So Hydra is a scaling side chain for Cardano. So it has that state channel, so you can do peer-to-peer or node-to-node transfer of value. Now, this was absolutely hilarious. So Hydra, yeah, it's launched, but then Charles put out this video. I'm just going to play this audio for you as well, so you can hear what's going on.
Now, there are cool, interesting things. Hydra finally reached mainnet, and people have been playing around with it. We launched Hydra on mainnet. Very first thing that you guys drew with Hydra on mainnet was a penis. Thank you very much. That was exciting. Nothing like 15 months of hardcore engineering work to get a dick drawn in pixel by pixel.
Yeah.
By the way, every pixel was a transaction. So that is a high transaction penis.
Yeah.
We learned a lot.
High transaction penis. All right. Yeah. I don't know what to. I don't think Charles realized what he was saying there. But yeah, all good. All good. So Hydra's definitely working, and of course the Cardano community is taking advantage of all that. So absolutely awesome to see. Yeah. I'll put a link to that in the show notes for you guys, so you can check out the video as well. Have a good laugh. So Astarter is a really cool community that is building up, and they're building their DEX as well. They call it ADEX. They're at closed beta at the moment as well. So if you're part of that ecosystem, you can check it out. You can see what they're building there. This little video gives you an overview of what is being built at the moment, the interface and everything else around it. So they're getting close. They're getting close. So hopefully by the end of April, we might actually see this one on testnet and actually have a little play around with it as well. So more variety, more DEXs in the Cardano ecosystem is, you think, why do we need another DEX? Competition. It's all about the competition, innovation, and everything else that you can bring to the space. So we'll surely see more of this code being open source. And again, it gives developers and other builders in the ecosystem experience, exposure to what's being built, and more options in regards to what they can build in the future too. So having all this out there is a good thing for the Cardano ecosystem. Now, a little bit early in this news story, I did talk about Aiken, and in my last news update, I talked about how AADA were going through their audit through their smart contract, which was their new version, which they've rebuilt in Aiken. And this particular Medium post here, this article, actually steps through their whole approach to upgrading to Aiken. So it's a really good and interesting read of why they went through it, how they are using it to create their new liquidity pools for their DeFi loans and everything else around it. So really interesting read, and it goes into a lot of detail there as well. So if you're interested in DeFi loans and borrowing and lending on Cardano, and AADA is one of your favorites, check that one out. I highly recommend that you guys do. Now, NuNet's public alpha. So NuNet is a decentralizing computing power. So if you have a computer that isn't doing much at home, you can rent out that computational power, that space and everything else around it to other people that need it and might want it at a cheaper rate compared to what AWS, Amazon Web Services, might be providing. And it really decentralizes that computing power as well. So at the moment, a lot of node operators or a lot of dApps might be using AWS. One day they might say, hey, we don't want anything to do with crypto and you're all off our platforms. If you find anyone, we will fine you and take you to court or whatever it is. So that could be a possibility in the future. But platforms like NuNet decentralize all that so everyone can contribute some computing power, some graphics card power for AI and machine learning, or computational power using the CPU, and NuNet allows that connection to all happen. So their public alpha is coming very, very soon. Their Earndrop 2.0 has just ended. So if you were delegating to a particular stake pool with your NuNet tokens and your ADA, you can now claim that on drip drops. So before it was on Tossy Drop. I've been getting confusing questions from people saying I'm on Tossy Drop, but I can't see any of these tokens. They had to move from Tossy Drop back to drip drops for this Earndrop, and now that this whole delegation period has ended, you can claim your tokens. So check that one out if you haven't claimed yet. You have a month to claim, and it's literally the month of April to claim. So you got a little bit of time, but if you're not thinking about this, the time may pass and you may forget to claim, and you might not be able to claim at all. So please check your wallets. If you are participating, go claim your tokens. Now, Yamfore is an interesting DeFi protocol as well. So again, those that are interested in using their crypto assets to borrow other assets such as USD can do so on the Yamfore platform. And they're doing it with no fixed terms. That's a really cool thing. And they're using the ADA rewards from staking to pay back the loan, and all sorts of really interesting mechanisms which make the borrowing and lending on Cardano so much easier. So check out the interview with Yamfore, again in the top right hand corner there. I did it with Braden. He's actually Australian as well, but you can check that one out and learn a little bit more about it. But they're almost at testnet. I'm really excited about that one. If you haven't checked out Yamfore yet, check it out on April 10th, where you can see the demo and interact with it and learn how the platform works. I have to say, I still haven't wrapped my head around how all the YAM works and the percentage of YAM that you need to be able to provide liquidity, not provide liquidity, get liquidity from it. So very interesting model. And I think it's something that I need to actually play around with before I actually completely wrap my head around it. So I'm looking forward to this testnet so I can better understand it. I am a YAM holder as well, so I'm supporting the project. I really hope they deliver exactly what Braden was talking about. So I'm really excited about that one. Now, my last shout out here, this is for Dream Lo-Fi. This is a CNFT, an NFT project, a music NFT project that is launching very soon. I did check out the dates here. Here we go, April 7th. So a couple more days before this one is launching. So it's a 5-track EPS, 5 different ones to collect with 25 songs in total, and only 555 are minting. So a very low mint, but I absolutely love this type of music. Great for work, great for studying as well. So check out that project. No, actually don't check out the project. Otherwise I won't be able to mint them all. Forget I even said this. Pass it on. Don't mint any of them. Yeah, all right. But that's it. That's all the news updates for this week. Thank you so much for sticking around. The recording time on this is actually about 55 minutes. So I'm going to cut this down as much as possible. But if you enjoyed it, if you like Cardano related content, please consider giving it a thumbs up, click subscribe, click on that notification bell. Really helps with the channel. I have merchandise at the bottom as well. You can also become a member of the channel. Really helps out. Every little thing that you guys do supports this channel, and I can keep on creating this content for you guys, keep you updated with what's happening in the Cardano ecosystem, and support these projects that are building as well. They need the exposure, and anytime I do these videos, more people know about them. Oh, don't forget, we have an NFT project coming up very soon. CardanoPress, the Wapus, these guys back here, they're launching very soon. Check it out, CardanoPress.io. All right, that's it for me. I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.